You're watching Rurouni K95's anime review on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders. Hi Ruronis, this is your pal Rurouni K95 here. Today's anime, we're going to be reviewing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders for today's anime review because I'm talking about both of the first 20 about the first arc of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and the Egypt arc on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders on because technically JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders has two different arcs. So let's begin on starting with these arcs to review for this anime review. 100 years ago, Jonathan Joestar defeated the evil Dio Brando, sacrificing himself to prevent Dio Brando's vampiric powers from terrorizing the world today. Jonathan's great-grandson Jotaro Kujo sits in prison, embracing a self-imposed isolation in order to contain a power he doesn't understand. Disrupted from his peace by his grandfather Joseph, Jotaro learns he has no time to sulk, as it turns out that tales of Dio's demons were greatly exaggerated. Now Jotaro and his friends must use their mysterious sand powers to make their way to Egypt, surviving countless attacks as they fight to end the reign of Dio once and for all. Yeah, because that's technically, though, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has always been a very awesome one, anime that I get to review. Because the first season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure featured vampires with laser eyes, cyborg Nazis, and killer squirrels, among many other things. In the world of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, all those absurd choices are both part of the fun, legitimately engaging dramatic devices. The bizarreness may come and go by the episode, but the title is never really false advertising, and establishing the context of the first season is important because Stardust Crusaders is ultimately even more than its predecessor, which is a lot different than the first season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Picking up a generation after the show's second arc, Stardust Crusaders introduces to a new JoJo, Jotaro Kujo, and follows him and his companions on a winding adventure across Asia as they seek to save Jotaro's mother, Holly, who is suffering from the side effects of Stardust Crusaders' biggest contribution to the series. This stands in contrast to vaguely defined Hammond ripple powers that fueled the first season's drama. Stans makes no excuse for their overtly magical qualities. There are essentially bizarre avatars and the various characters can summon, who end up doing most of the fighting for them. Jotaro's Stan, Star Platinum, has super speed and super strength. Joseph Joestar, who is now the anime's best grandpa, can use Hermit Purple to take the spirits photographs. These stands open the field to virtually any conceivable dramatic conflict, ranging from stands that attack you in your dreams to stands that can only appear in mirrors. As well, the stands aid greatly at adding diversity of conflict, comedy, and generation effects to Stardust Crusaders, where Phantom Blood was influenced by gothic and horror and battle tendency by classic adventure serial. Stardust Crusaders seems most heavily influenced by the mangaka Hirohiko Araki's love of shockingly horror movies. Stardust Crusaders' shot framing, storytelling priorities, and choice of enemies all lean heavily in his new direction. From evil dolls to killer dolls, killer call, Ars, and phantom ships, Stardust Crusaders draws from the long tradition of absurd horror movie villains using the stand conceit to free itself for antagonists to make even the tiniest amount of sense as well. Because the heightened absurdity isn't limited to villains, whereas JoJo's first season comedy generally acted as a mere supplement of its action. This time, the comedy takes center stage. Stardust Crusaders is one of the long, silly road trip on its long single moments of absurd comedy. French hero Paul her nerf, giving a back rub to the old ladies who's sworn to kill him. Jotaro's classmate Akioin starting menacingly at an evil baby, or even at Joseph Joestar, hamming up with his dramatic "Oh no!" whenever anything ridiculously happens. Yeah, less focused on maintaining breakable neck dramatic pacing. Stardust Crusaders tends to exist comfortable, silly, neutral, rambling, episodic journey with a bunch of endearing idiots. As well, for anime like these new priorities come to cost. While unfortunately, while JoJo's first two arcs matched their absurdity with legend narrative modem, Stardust Crusaders is significantly lacking in both consistent dramatic stakes narrative progression. It follows a fairly strict Monster of the Week format, and combining with its generally distant art, overarching threat means individual episodes often end up inconsequential. The issue is exacerbated by the fact that Stardust Crusaders fights often just aren't that compellingly constructed, though the show is full of creative villains. The way the heroes defeat them often come across as cheap shortcuts. Jotaro, in particular, regularly defeats his enemies simply by being much stronger than them, or by briefly exploiting powers as we didn't even know he had. In JoJo's first season, the conflicts are often resolved in the ridiculous ways, but those resolutions tended to obey the general rules of Hampen Ripple energy. In Stardust Crusaders, however, the dramatic appeal of wondering what the heroes will do next significantly dampened because the resolutions very often don't come across as clever or creative as well. On the aesthetic front, Stardust Crusaders still has a wonderful, distinctive visual style with dramatic on-screen lettering and bold colors, amplifying the sense of this being a comic brought to life, or manga brought to life. The character designs as bold, as larger than life as the story itself, as their expressive face make many great visual gags. The show is still fairly limited in its animation, but it has stepped up for key sequences, and some of the standout fights are definitive animation showcases. Unfortunately, this increase in actual animation seems to have been matched by a lessening of the creativity the first season used to get around its own limited budget. There are few wide color shifts for this season, and the show's diminished need to make every shot count seems to have resulted in fewer dynamic compositions. Unfortunately, the show's increased animation has led off to the dynamics, but fortunately, a few of the later episodes demonstrate both solid animation and creative purposeful framing, and knocking Stardust Crusaders' visual style as slightly less engaging than the first season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure isn't particularly biting criticism. Layer aside, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure remains one of the most stylish and visual unique shows out there. Yeah, because this works well enough in the matching the show's horror movie tone, which is a lot what you expect from if you ever been influenced to horror movies. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders is your typical anime. Oh yeah, and also it had another arc, which is particularly Battle in the Egypt arc. After 30 years of days of fighting off wave after the assassin sent by megalomaniacal vampire Dio Brando, while traveling by plane and train and automobile from Japan through Southeast Asia and across the Middle East, Jotaro and his allies have made it at last to Egypt, where Dio lies in wait. Dio Brando striving to the end of the Joestar line that has stood in his way for 100 years, since his final and most frequent team of stand user followers, the 9 Egyptian gods, to eliminate Jotaro and his allies. Jotaro and his party now have only 2 weeks to make their way to Dio's hideout in Cairo and eliminate him before Jotaro's mother succumbs to Dio's curse. Yeah, because they use Japanese opening themes for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders, but the ending theme can use particularly some of the American popular culture rock song. Other songs in Stardust Crusaders is "Walk Like an Egyptian" by the Bangles. But the other episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure particularly the Battle in the Egypt arc, has "Last Train Home" by Pat Metheny Group. But for the other ones, they can use particularly episode Japanese ending theme songs, like what you expect is how it works particularly in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders, particularly because you would expect for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because having a best manner all manner teacher stand users on their journey, Jotaro and his companions have finally arrived in Egypt. Before they can face Dio and end their task, they'll have to face a second wave of advisories, fighting femme fatales and high-stakes gamblers, and even a cursed sword on their way to their nemesis lair. But even when they arrive, will they truly up to the task of defeating Dio, the man who survived 100 years in the belly of the sea? What tricks does he still have waiting? And what is the true nature of his terrifying stand? And tune in to find out more on the rip-roaring installment of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Yeah, also in the final episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because that's where Jotaro has defeated Dio Brando. If you ever, I don't know if you ever watched the anime series, I recommend you, if you haven't seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders, I recommend you to check out that anime series, because you definitely gotta love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders, because it's a lot more different from the events from the first season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Because if I get to cover the other JoJo's Bizarre Adventure seasons, like seasons 3, like the unbreakable one, then I would have been particularly have it for the most part for my future anime reviews. But I did mention about talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because I got involved with doing an anime review on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders is one of those anime titles that made me, as an anime reviewer who hasn't done a review on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders until now. It's just like how I look back on my previous anime review on the first season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which has got me to review Stardust Crusaders for the first time. That's why. So that's going to be it for my anime review on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders for today. Thank you for watching. Before we go, here's my thoughts about it. I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 auras. If you watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because the visual style looks awesome and epic. If you ever watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders. Hope subscribe for content. My anime pilot link in the description down below. Share this video on your Twitter and Facebook. If you have Twitter and Facebook account and all social media, be sure to give this video a thumbs up by clicking the like button on this video. Be sure to feel free to leave in the comments in the comment section below on this video. Please subscribe to my channel, RurouniK95. If feel free to join my channel if you're new as well. Of course, as you can click on my notifications bell buttons, check out my videos I'm uploading as well. And keep it otaku for my anime review on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders. This is RurouniK95 saying thank you for watching my anime review, and I'm glad you liked and enjoyed it. Hope to see you soon for the next anime review, and hope you have a great day. And also got one more thing. Stay tuned for my next anime review on Grave of the Fireflies, because you won't want to miss it.